Today we're going to install the Gator FX3 hard folding cover on this 2015 Colorado. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so now the first step would normally be to install a bulkhead seal, but since this has a plastic bed liner that wraps over top of the bulkhead, we're going to skip that step because we've got the thickness that we need for the cover. Next, we're going to take the rail of the cover. We're going to look at the aluminum extrusion at the end. That's going to face towards the cab of the truck. This rail is just going to hang right on top of the bed cap. We're going to slide it all the way up to the bulkhead. Next, what we're going to do is take 3 clamps per side, spread those clamps apart, get it as far forward on that rail as possible, and then slide it up to where the grooves on the clamp marry into the grooves on the rail. Once those are in place, we're going to hold it together, tighten it up by hand. And while we're holding pressure down on the rail to keep a nice tight seal, we're going to go ahead and tighten that down with a 14 millimeter or 9/16 socket. Now we're going to go to the last clamp. Now on all these clamps, we also want to make sure the bottom side of the inside of that clamp is above the inside of the ledge of the bed cap. Once we've popped that hole out, we're going to go ahead and put this back in place. And we've already made an X mark in here so that we can fit our drain tube through it. And what we're going to do is feed the drain tube through. Once that's all the way through, we're going to hook it up to the drain cup down below. We're going to make sure we don't kink that. So we're going to feed it through till there's no more kink. Next, we're going to take the whole cover and we're going to set it right up on top of the rails towards the front of the bed. We'll let the front of the cover flop forward over top of the bulkhead. We're going to move it up to where it bumps the bulkhead at the frame. Okay, now on each side we're going to take an elevator bolt, go down through the hole in the cover, and then in through the slot in the rail. From the bottom, we're going to put on a rubber washer, followed by a flat washer, then a lock washer, and we'll put on the star nut. We'll get that loosely threaded on, not tighten it down just yet because we won't be able to adjust the cover. We're going to do this on both sides. All right, now that we've got the cover loosely bolted in place, we're going to one panel at a time, bring the cover back. Make sure it stays centered on either side. We're going to check, make sure we've got plenty of clearance at the tailgate. Everything checks out, so we're going to go ahead and tighten down the elevator bolts. All right, so now I've got 3 rubber strips that I pulled off of the face over here. What we're going to do is we're going to wipe down this surface of this last panel with rubbing alcohol. And we're going to run it up to the cab and see where it would strike the cab. It's going to be right at where our third brake light is. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach these rubber bumpers right at the third brake light to protect that. Well, that concludes the installation. If you have any questions, call the experts. We're here to help you out.